So you'll notice that my block is on end and near the front of my mat because it's a standing start. And we'll just allow ourselves to bring the toes together. We're going to stand in mountain pose. Let the hands face forwards if we can. Roll the shoulders back a couple of times and drop them down rather than pulling them down. Just let them drop, see where they get to, and then let it release a little bit. See if you can lift all of your toes away from the floor and give them a little wriggle. Might help to wriggle the fingers at the same time. They seem to connect more easily with your toes if you're wriggling your fingers. And then letting yourself be still. And noticing whether your pelvis is tilting forwards or backwards and adjusting accordingly to try and bring the pelvis into more of a neutral position. And slowing the breath down. To move over the block, just squeeze the ankles in gently, and then taking the arms out to the side. We'll bring the palms up above the shoulders for the first couple of times, and then we'll start to bring the palms together above the head, inhaling up. And then going to lift up onto tiptoes as we bring the arms up. Try and stay on the tippy toes with the block held. So we've now lifted that off the ground. And then we'll let the heels come back down again. We'll just take a little turn towards the front of the mat and move that block out to the side. You'll keep the feet together again. Take the hands up towards the sky. Hands are above the shoulders. We can take that into a little back bend. So just going to start to let the spine lift up and back. And rather than pressing the hips forwards, I try to let them come back with me. So I have to press into the legs and push down into the ground a little bit more. Careful not to let the head hang back too far. Think long, soft curve through the spine. Shoulders open out to the side a little bit. Come back, bring the hands in towards the heart. Just take the feet out to hip distance apart. Exhale forward slowly, arm flat back. Just taking the weight gently into the toes, bending the knees as you need. So depending on how much you've moved around this morning, you might need a lot of more bend in the knees. We'll come up halfway, bringing the hands onto the shins. Exhale down. Come back halfway. Exhale down. Lift up halfway. Exhale down, stepping into down dog. So just taking a little time to spread the fingers out, nice and wide, making sure there's no gaps under the hands. Your choice to have steady legs or walking, whichever you prefer. Always trying to lift the hips up and back. The original sort of text teaching of down dog, the idea is to draw all of the weight into the legs, and so that the hands and the arms feel light. Well, I've been practicing for 20 years. The best I ever get to is 50-50. So maybe your body's different to mine. I'm just thinking the text was translated a bit more literally than it needed to be. So it's an attempt to get the weight to move back. And we'll come forwards and let the knees come back down to the floor. We'll start to take some cat-cow. So just allowing yourself to draw the chest forwards, tailbone up towards the sky, and then tilt the pelvis gently. Let the spine ripple up towards the sky. First couple of rounds, really easy in the spine. Then you can start to press away from the floor a little more, pressing into the hands and the shins. So you start to round the middle back a little bit in a stronger way towards the ceiling. Just checking that the ribs feel happy to move around. The spine feels like it's got a little bit of juice in there. Someone's got the WD-40 out for us first thing in the morning, give us a little spray. We'll come back into child's pose. I'm going to take the knees wide once I arrive, and then walk the hands forwards. Moving my way down. Very lightly pressing the hands into the floor, drawing the belly in and trying to draw the tailbone towards the back of the mat. Feel a little bit more contraction in the hips, more in the muscles when you do that. And we'll take it into a side bend over to our right. Enjoy breathing on the side of the body. Noticing those ribs slowly opening up to the side. Get that sense of a string tightening down the side of the body. And you breathe into it. Take one more long breath here. And walk it across the other side. And bring ourselves back to the center. We'll lift gracefully back into down dog. And then we'll take that into a scissors. So we'll take the right leg up high, come up on tippy toes, point out through the toes of the top foot. I'll bring that leg down to the floor. Come the other leg up, come up onto the tippy toes, press back, stretch out through the toes of the raised foot. Let leg lengthen out. Bring the foot gently back down to the floor. Come forwards into a plank. And drop the knees down to the floor underneath us. We'll bring the left hand in line with the left knee and spin the left foot out to the side. Take a little breath. Right foot goes back, we drop the heel in. And we'll open up into baby side plank. Bring the hands back down. And then we'll do the same on the right side. And we'll bring the hands down to the floor again. Into plank. Roll the feet to the left. Bring the right foot forwards halfway. Press into the floor to lift the hip up. Hands come down back into plank. Take it to the right. Left foot comes forward. Press to lift the hips up. A strong bottom leg, strong press into the forward foot. You should feel a little bit more activity around the outside edge of that hip bone on the top leg. Bring the hands back down. We're back into plank. Move into down dog and walk the feet in gently towards the front of the mat. Forward fold. Bring the hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift up. Inhale high with the hands through the heart. Down to the floor. Up onto the shins. Fold it down. One more time. Stepping back into down dog. And we'll come forward into plank. Flop over the feet. The knees come to the floor, so just rolling over the toes. Sitting down into child's pose. Elbows and head come to the floor. Inhale back up, round spine. Tuck the toes underneath. Move back into our down dog. Roll forwards into plank. Roll over the toes. Sit back. Child's pose. Inhale it up. Roll the shoulders back. Press the hips back and lift up, down dog. Got the hang of this now, coming forwards again. Try to make sure you roll the shoulders back before you lift into your down dog, so you're supporting the shoulder girdle. Just a few more. Last one. Finishing in down dog. We'll draw the right knee into the chest and bring the foot through for lunge. Come onto the fingertips. And from that back leg out as far as we humanly possibly can. Ease the back knee down to the floor. Keep the toe tucked under on the back foot. Draw the hands onto the front thigh to lift up. Slowly take the arms out to the side and then bend at the elbows. So we look like a little bit of a cactus. Spread out through the fingers as the palms face forward. And then draw the shoulder blades back towards the back of the mat. We'll squeeze them together a little bit. Let the eyes lift and follow the heart. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the floor. Move back gently to down dog. And bring the left leg in. Another humanly big lunge. Back knee down again, keeping the back foot tucked under. Hands come onto the thigh. Gentle lift. When you find your balance, you take the hands out. And then open up the chest. Those shoulder blades towards the back of the mat. Squeeze together naturally. So we're consciously drawing the shoulders towards the back of the mat. The squeezing of the shoulder blades together kind of is a natural response. Bring the hands to the floor. Take a little breath. This time we'll step into the front of the mat for a forward fold. Down nice and low. Bring the hands onto the hips to lift up. Exhale. Inhale the hands high. And into the heart. Staying here for a moment. Feeling that energy moving around the body. The blood starts to move through those big muscles in the legs, around. I'll swoop the arms out to the side and up to the sky again. Into forward fold. Right foot back. Coming into warrior two, so dropping the heel in. Bring the hands onto the front side to lift up. Hands then come across the body as we open out to the side and draw the arms up. And open into our warrior. Just relax through the shoulders, stretching out through the fingertips. Drawing the body inside onto the mat. Hips diagonal. Inhale the hands high. Down to the floor. We'll step it back into down dog. Come forward into plank, half plank and up dog. Knees to the floor if you wish. Remember not to go too low, especially on the first couple of rounds of these. That kind of really sets you up nicely then for the rest of the sequence. We'll draw the right knee in towards the chest and come back into the lunge from our down dog. Press off the toes. And we're into our forward fold. Hands onto the hips. Lifting up. We'll do that with the left leg. other hands high, down to the floor. Back into our down dog. Into plank, half plank up dog, down dog. Strong legs. Rest back. Left knee comes in. Lunging through. And stepping into the front of the mat. Hands up to the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands through the heart and exhale down. Right foot back into our lunge. This time we're going to place the right hand to the floor and take the twist to the left. Rising the hand up towards the sky. Rather than sinking into the shoulder, press away from the floor. Get that extra half an inch of lift from the shoulder. I'll bring the hand down to the floor and onto the inside of the front leg. And then slowly start to open the body to the right. Let the head follow. And we'll bring the hands down. Step ourselves back to the down dog. Yeah, we'll bring the right foot forwards. Drop the back heel down. Bring the hands alongside the body. Cartwheel the left hand forwards and up into warrior two. And float the hands high. Lengthen out over the front leg. Down dog. Plank. Half plank. Up dog, breath in. Down dog. Exhale. We'll draw the right knee in. To the lunge. Press off the toes. Forward fold. Hands on the hips to lift up. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Forward fold. Lead with the left foot to the back of the mat. Left hand down. Right arm lifts into the twist. And bring hand onto the inside. Take a little time to find your balance. Let the body rotate slowly. You open out to the left side. Still trying to work out through the back leg. Hands come to the floor. Step back into our down dog. And draw the left leg in. Warrior two. Dropping the heel in. Hands alongside the body. Right arm comes forwards. We cartwheel up. Hands high, lengthen, step back into down dog, load into plank, half plank, to up dog, to down dog. We'll draw that left knee in. And then step it through. Bring the hands onto the hips. And lift them up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down, draw the belly in, lift the hips high. Step back into plank. Bring the knees to the floor. You come down onto the ground and just flip onto our backs. And take that block and place that behind the back of the head. Just wriggle the spine out a little bit, feeding towards the body, and then we'll draw the knees from the time in towards the body and extend the legs up towards the sky as we draw the belly down, lower back into the ground. Pointing the toes out, take the hands up above the chest, palms facing in for alternated legs and arms. So right arm, left leg, down, avoid the bounce, draw back slowly, keep the spine connected to the ground. I tend to focus on that a little bit more than worrying or focusing on the legs. As long as you get a sense of stretching out through the fingers and the toes, the limbs generally behave themselves and stay pretty straight. Bring the feet back up. So to take the arms out wide, make cactus arms again. So a little bend in the elbows, keeping the lower back into the floor, squeezing the thighs together a little bit, spreading the toes. We come down halfway with the legs. So generally, when your toes start to disappear out of your peripheral vision, it's time to bring them back up. Avoid bringing the legs up too swiftly. There's a temptation to kind of yank and hope. And what that does is it tilts the pelvis a little bit and starts to lift your spine around. So we're trying to keep that stable. So we're working slow. And keep those elbows and shoulders on the ground. Couple more. Starting for those hip flexors. Last one. And bend the knees and bring them back in towards the body. We'll take the hands on top of the kneecaps. Make some nice circles with the knees in the air. Move in the opposite direction. If you want a little bit more fun, challenge yourself to take one knee in one direction and one in the opposite. Mix it up by changing that round. And then we'll come into happy babies. Just draw the chin in towards the chest. Slide the hands down around the outside little toe area. Draw slowly the soles of the feet towards the sky. Use the knees down towards the ground. The tailbone down. Just a couple of breaths. Just going to release the legs and roll onto our right side. Use the hands to press to come back up. Bend the feet towards the front of the mat. Take the block and just place that towards the back of the mat. We come back down to the floor again, having the feet a little wider than the hips. Taking the hands out, wide palms up, and then feeding the feet out as far to the corner edges of the mat as you can with those knees high. We'll scissor the legs over to our left. It's your choice whether you flex the feet and try to bring the legs a little closer to the ground, or whether you relax. So you know how your back and your shoulders feel. If you feel a little bit tight, go for the softer option. If you feel nicely warmed up and you want to work in a downwards direction with the legs, you can do. And everybody lifts back up. And move gently over to the opposite side. Try to do the same on both sides, whichever method you chose to work with. And we'll come back into the center again. Walk the feet a little closer in, making it feel like the heels are underneath the knees. We'll wriggle the shoulders underneath as we bring the hands back alongside the body, palms facing down for our bridge pose. So we'll press the hands and the shoulders into the floor, draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone away, let the hips lift. Take one breath at the top, and then roll the spine gently back down to the floor. So on the lift, obviously we're going to press down through the feet as we exhale and lift up, but we're also going to try and draw the knees forwards, send the buttocks in the same direction. One breath at the top. Roll it slowly back down. Ease our way back up. Back to the ground. We'll do two more. And we'll take the last one. we come back down gently to the ground, we'll wiggle the toes back into the center line and draw the left knee in towards the body. Take the hands around the shin. Lift to the chin so you can see where your leg goes. The right leg goes down towards the front of the mat. We've got the foot flexed. And then we'll let the head come back to the floor and start to use a little bit of strength in the arms to draw that left knee closer to the body. It generally wants to travel out to the edge a little bit, so just let it follow its own line. And release. Draw the feet back in. Take the right foot towards the body. Left leg out down the center line, or spread of the toes. Let the head down on the floor, lengthen out through the leg a little bit. And then we'll start to use the arms to draw that knee in towards the body. See how much space we can find. How far can we travel? And we can release. Bring both feet close in towards the body. Roll slowly over to the right side. Use the hands to lift back up. Taking the legs out in front. Bring our trusty block underneath. And bring the right heel into the groin. Knee out to the side, square the hips. Little bend in the front knee. Make sure everything's pointing up towards the sky. Hands onto the shins, we lift up. Make some space. Forward over the thigh. Ease your body forwards. And we'll lift slowly back out. Take that to the second side. Just let the body come in gently. It's a forward and lift rather than using the word down. So try and keep the shoulders nice and broad. Don't let them collapse down to the floor. Want this feeling of openness in the chest so we can glide forwards more. And release from there. We'll draw the right foot underneath and out towards the hip. Bring the left foot across for a little spiral twist in the seated version. Take the right hand up, rotate round. We can glance gently back towards the back of the mat, over that rear shoulder. Release. Now we'll take it over to the second side. And release from there. And it's time for Shavasana. So use the block again for the head. Use high hands behind. If we roll the spine down, use the heels to the corner edges and then turn the palms slightly towards the sky. Soften the jaw as you close your eyes. And wriggle out that body. And let everything sink. Gradually letting the muscles relax. It's almost like you're turning them off. Like you would turn the lights off at home. They're still there, still able to turn back on when you need them. But you just save a little bit of energy by switching them off. Begin to wriggle the toes, fingers, the wrists and the ankles. Take some, really breathe a little deeper. Rally ourselves for the big stretch as we exhale out. From the body. Slide the heels along the floor back in. We'll take our gentle hug. Whatever shape that looks like. And less is more motto at this stage. And then rolling gently onto the right side. We'll take a breath as we go in. And use an exhale to roll back out. And come up into easy sitting posture. Bring the hands into the heart. Close the eyes as you breathe in. Let the chin drop as you begin to exhale. Let the belly draw, the spine bow down to the floor to seal the practice. Inhale, back up. Lifting the head, open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Hope you enjoyed our 45 minutes. See you on the mat again soon.